everyone, and welcome back to my channel a year later. Today I'm going to tell you a crazy story, but in order for you to understand the reasoning behind it, I have to start at the very beginning, meaning having to go back to November 2017. One day, a venue in the United States decided to announce that they would be selling tickets for Dan & Phil's World Tour Interactive Introverts. And obviously everyone started freaking out, but nothing was official, so no hopes up yet. Then sometime later, Dan & Phil said that they had an announcement to make on Friday.
So, a load of people are saying, Friday, what's happening on Friday? Well, you'll have to wait and see what's going to happen on Friday. I'm not going to say anything. I'll say it's very exciting. I'm very hyped for it. I'm very excited to talk about it and to tell you about it. And I think it's something that people around the world will enjoy. But that's all I'm going to say. You can wait and see. It's going to happen, I think, about 8 p.m. tomorrow.
Now, by this point, everyone was pretty sure that it was going to be a world tour, but theories were still flying around. Nobody was totally sure, so we were all still nervous and waiting. So on November 10, that Friday, I was in my car with my mom and I was driving to Starbucks because I had to turn in a final project for a very scary teacher. But that's not important. I was in the car and I was refreshing Twitter like a maniac, and the first notification that I got was Dan's tweet. So I opened it and oh, surprise! It was a tour. And there was a picture attached to this tweet. Now, I was sure that this world tour was going to be around the USA, some parts of Europe, and probably Australia as well. But I had no hopes of them coming to Mexico. Until I opened that picture, I read every single place that was listed there, and then I saw it. At the very end, on the bottom right corner, Mexico. And obviously I started sobbing uncontrollably because was this finally happening? Was this actually a thing after 5 years of watching their videos? Was I finally gonna be able to meet them? My mom was naturally terrified because I was pounding on the window and sucking in mouthfuls of air and just crying my heart out. And she just said very calmly, "They're coming to Mexico, right?" Which made me cry even more. And when I finally got it a bit together in order to go on the website, I noticed that Mexico, along with other places like Brazil and Hong Kong and etc., were under a section called TBC, meaning that these places were not entirely confirmed yet, but we would have to wait. So time passed and Dan & Phil didn't say anything, which was fine, they were still planning, trying, doing stuff. And then on one live show, Dan was asked about the TBC dates. And he said,
TBC dates! You're gonna murder me, aren't you? Okay, so the Dan & Phil 2018 World Tour going to, basically most of the countries in the world. There's some dates that aren't on sale yet, the TBC dates. We said they'd be coming towards the end of January. Basically, with the places like Singapore, Hong Kong, and a couple others, we want to put them all on sale at the same time so we're not annoying people with 12 different things. So we're waiting. Firstly, it's not until September, so don't worry, okay? Most of these places, they're at the end of the tour, so wow.
And if you remember this screenshot that I showed you, Mexico and Brazil were supposed to happen in June. So I was slightly annoyed. About a week passed until I went on the website again and noticed that the months had changed. And Mexico and June were TBC, but for September, not for June anymore. Now, why does this matter? Why is this relevant, Faye? Whether they come in June or September, the important thing is that they're going to be there, right? No. See, I didn't tell you, but I've always wanted to study abroad, and my uni has that option. And it has two ways of doing it. You can do it during the summer and take 2 courses on universities like Harvard or Yale or Stanford, Columbia, etc. Or you can do it in a semester, take 6 courses in another country. Now, when I planned this, the website still said that they would be coming in June. So I was not about to risk it and go abroad during the summer, because I did not know at which point in June they were going to be here. So instead, I decided to study a semester in Italy. A semester that started on August 27th. Do you see the problem now? I was going to be in Italy while Dan and Phil were in Mexico. So, of course, I was heartbroken, I was disappointed, I was frustrated, and I cried every single day since. Can you imagine crying every single day for 5 months? So come August, I was still crying, I was still very sad, I was very angry at myself for not saving up enough for a round trip from Italy to Mexico and then back just to see the show. And I was done, you know? Everyone had seen the show, and I was just thinking, has anyone not seen it? Is anyone not going to see it besides me? Which, of course, there are a lot of people that will not get to see the show. I was just being selfish and dumb. But I was very frustrated. So, on August 4th, over breakfast, I told my mom that I wanted to go to Interactive Introverts. And this was not news to her. I've been complaining for the past 5 months. But she did not realize that I was being serious. And I told her that I would be able to go to the Phoenix date, to which she replied that it was too soon and that there was not enough time to plan it. And I said, okay, well, they have a show in San Diego the next day. Is that enough? So a lot of back and forth happened until she eventually said yes. But I could not go by myself. So I texted 2 friends. The first one is the one that's going with me to Italy, and the second one hadn't started uni yet, so they were both solid choices. And they both told me that they would have an answer by the end of the day. So I waited, but I told my mom, I need to buy the tickets now, because otherwise they're going to be gone. Somehow I managed to find 2 tickets on the second row on the right side. They were amazing, the view was going to be great, I was so excited. And she told me, yeah, get them before they're gone. So I bought the tickets, and I knew they were not going to be VIP, because why would there be any VIP tickets left at this point? But you know, I still asked Ticketmaster, and not only were they not VIP, but they were especially reserved for the visually impaired. Now, this is not a thing in Mexico. We do not have specific seats for people with special needs. We should, but we don't. So I did not know that this was a thing. So I told the guy, okay, well, I don't have a problem with my sight. I can see fine. Can I still use the seats? And he told me that the venue had every right to not let me in or kick me out during the show. So I had to change the tickets. And the only tickets left were a seat in row H in the very middle, and another one all the way back in row R. But that was all that was left. So I got those. And it's the end of the day, I have the tickets, and both of my friends tell me that they cannot make it. One because she's already going to Italy, and the other one because she just didn't want to, which is fine. So I'm laying in bed, frustrated and having a crisis because what the hell am I doing? And I text a third friend. Now, if I'm being completely honest, this friend was always my first choice, but, and this is only relevant because my family is Mexican and Catholic, this friend is a boy. But at this point, I did not care. I just needed to see it with someone, and he was there for the whole journey of stress and sadness and pain. So I texted him, and I was like, guess what I did today? So I explained him about how I randomly got a ticket to see Dan and Phil. And he texted back saying, oh, you should have gotten 2 tickets. And I was like, well, actually, I did, and you should come with me. And he thought I was joking. He was like, yeah, right. And I was just like, no, seriously, come with me, please. So suddenly it's Sunday and we're buying airplane tickets and booking a hotel in San Diego. Now, there was a thing that I had to consider while reserving the flight. And that was that on Tuesday, the day that I was leaving for San Diego, I had an appointment at the Italian embassy to get my student visa. And all that I was thinking was that the flight had to be in the afternoon so that I had enough time to go to the embassy and do all the tramits and be done with it and have enough time to get to the airport. And that was it. We booked the flights, we reserved the hotel, everything was good. And it was Sunday night when I was getting every paper ready for the Italian embassy when I realized that I had to take my passport as well. So I went for my passport, I had it in my hands when I realized, oh fuck. The Italian embassy has to keep my passport in order to paste the student visa there. And I need my passport in order to get out of the country and into the United States. So you see, the same day that I had to leave my passport with the Italian embassy, I had to use it to take a flight. So I started freaking out, my mom started freaking out, everyone was freaking out and yelling and screaming because what was I going to do? Was I not gonna be able to go to Italy? How could I have been so stupid? What kind of person forgets that they have to leave their passport and instead books a flight? It was such a mess. So I came up with a plan that had 3 possible outcomes. The plan was to go on Monday without an appointment, explaining my situation so they could have the visa ready by Tuesday, which of course did not happen. So the second part of the plan was to go on Tuesday with my appointment, explain the situation, and expect them to say, oh, don't worry, we'll have it ready in an hour so you can take it to the airport, which did not happen either. So the third part of the plan was to give them my papers, have everything ready, and just before they took them away, explain that I could not leave my passport because I had a flight. And there were 2 things that could happen. I could tell them that they could keep my papers and that I would come back on Monday to give them my passport and they would be fine with it. Or they could tell me no and that I had to get another appointment online. Now, when I realized that this was happening, I went online and checked when the next appointment was available, and it was the end of October. Now, if you remember, my classes started at the end of August, so the end of October was really not good for me. So, it comes the day, it's my turn, I go, I give the guy my papers, everything's good, he gives them the okay, and just before he takes them away, I say, excuse me, in the sweetest voice that my throat can manage. And I pull off the most innocent expression that I have ever pulled and I say, I cannot leave you my passport. I have a flight in 3 hours to San Diego. And the guy is just like, and I totally understand because what kind of moron does that? So I go along with the plan and I say, can you keep my papers and I can bring you the passport on Monday? And he's just staring blankly at me like nobody has ever disappointed him so much in his life. And he ends up saying, just bring me everything back on Monday. And I'm like, really? Do I just come? And he writes on my form that I can come without an appointment, gives me back my papers, and that's it. I'm ready to go to the airport. So I get in the car, I rush to the airport, and it's time to go to San Diego to see Dan and Phil. And I do, and it was the best day of my life. It was a big mess. It was something really out of character for me. I'm not an impulsive person, I'm a planner. I'm the kind of person that makes lists and does her research and makes lists about what to research in order to make a proper list, and I'm a person that has anxiety, so I need to know how everything is going to happen and when and who is going to be a part of it. But I was just done and I just went for it, and somehow it worked out because I got my visa today. So I guess the moral of the story is go for it, because in the end things will find a way and they will work out. So yeah, I got to see Interactive Introverts and it was genuinely the best day of my life. I cried a lot. If you haven't realized from this video, I'm a big crier. I haven't stopped crying ever since, so yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to stop crying. I think it's just part of me now, which is fine. But yeah. Oh, and the second moral of the story is make friends that will go to San Diego without any planning, just because they like you that much. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe for one video a year apparently. I'm turning 21, which is not relevant to this video and I'm not going to talk about it, but it's just another crisis that I'm dealing with at the moment. Give me a thumbs up, I guess. I don't know how this works, even though I spend all day watching YouTube videos. Again, thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely back to school or back to uni or back to wherever you're going. And try new things. Bye.